Hi, I'm Sheba and I'm the creative director for the Trib3 Lagos branding project.
Hi, my name is Jemima and I'm the brand strategist and identity designer for Trib3 Lagos branding project at Seriphics.
Hi, my name is Mathew, and I'm the web designer and web developer for Trib3 Lagos branding project at Seriphics.
My name is Becky Wari, and I am the illustrator for Trib3 Lagos branding project at Seriphics.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm the 3D artist for the Trib3 Lagos branding project and Seriphics.
These are our production partners for the Trib3 Lagos branding project. In the sea of many restaurants in Victoria and Lagos, there's a question that a new restaurant starting up, how exactly are they going to compete for the same market within that space? Now, for the client's request, this statement from the client actually came later down in the project, and it was on a call where he said that a part of the brand strategy that we did, which actually focused on the event and entertainment part of Trib3 Lagos, was the most valuable part of everything, and that alone was worth more than his investment. And that made me happy, and that made me feel like, yes, I've actually done justice for this particular client. But then he also mentioned that when he first of all had the idea for Trib3 Lagos, it was supposed to be an amala spot. You know how, like, after work you come in to just have some very nice amala with ewedu and like just very nice African dish. And that was the plan, right? It was supposed to be an open space where people can just come, and there was no roofing or nothing. And that's pretty much how the idea started. And the way it has evolved from there to now is what is actually marvelous about this project. And our input is not the only input that actually brought about this evolution. The manager, the interior designer, and other people who have worked on this project that we don't even know about, right? Obviously, we all came together to make this work. But then our part was majorly focused on the brand perception of Trib3 Lagos. How this came up was basically clients finding us on Google, and then he was like that he knew that they are going to be focusing on the interior of the space soon, and they're kind of conflicted on like what colors of chairs to use, what type of stuff should be in the interior of the space and all of that. And then he said that the branding definitely, he believes that would affect the decision in terms of the interior of the space. And we're like, yes, that's actually 100% right, and it is good that you approach us at this moment and we're willing to take on this project. And this is pretty much how it all started. In this video, we'll be giving you a glimpse of how we shaped the brand identity for Trib3 Lagos from strategy all the way to launch. This is Building a Brand Documentary Edition Episode 1. In case you haven't heard about us before, this is Seriphics. Seriphics is a brand building agency based in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are very, very keen on business growth through brand building. What we do is we take your business ideas, however rough it is, and we use strategy, whether brand, marketing, or sales strategy, to shape your business brand in a way that it's going to keep growing. We also help to execute these strategies through design, media, and basically anything that is needed, really. My name is Sheba. I'm the founder of Seriphics, and I'm also the creative director, meaning I manage a lot of projects, and I'm going to be taking you on this journey about the Trib3 Lagos branding. Of course, the project started with a discovery call, and this is what a discovery call is. A discovery call is a session where we get to kind of discuss with the founders of the business or the key players in the business to try to get them to use certain words to describe what their business or what their brand would be like. We're actually trying to divert their thought process to think actually very deep outside of things like affordability, good quality, and stuff like that. So we want to kind of drive their focus into what exactly is unique about this business that you want to emphasize in your brand. Also, who are you going to be targeting? Who are people you're going to be serving? What problem exactly are you solving? We try to get them to give us information on the business itself. We ourselves, while in conversation with them, kind of decipher what the brand is probably going to be like. And we mention those things on that discovery call, make sure that we're on the same page, and then from there we work on a creative brief. Now, in the case of Trib Lagos, they wanted the brand to be Afrocentric because they're going to be selling Afrofusion cuisine, which is a fusion of African dishes and dishes from all around the world. And they also wanted to emphasize the entertainment part of Trib Lagos, right? They wanted to be able to kind of give that community kind of vibe. So in the sense that people actually come together to enjoy, have fun, you know, after a stressful day at work and things like that. So there was really focus on the entertainment part. So it was kind of like a 2-in-1 type of thing, which is what they call a resto lounge. And they also wanted it to give a sense of luxury, a sense of premium, while their menu and their pricing was actually affordable, which is actually a very great play because it feels like you're coming to a very exquisite place, and then you can actually get the most because you're spending less on each item. Now, before we go deep into like the branding process, what exactly is branding? Now, branding is that gut feeling or that perception that someone has of your business when they come across you. Whether they meet you for the first time or they've been with you for a while, they kind of know who you are. But what exactly is that feeling that they get? What is that perception that they have of you as a business? This is what a brand is, and it's made up of 3 major ingredients. We have the messaging, the aesthetics, and the experience. Now let's go on to actually shape the brand of Trib Lagos. Now, from this creative brief that we've done, right, we're able to kind of understand the goal better, and we pass this creative brief on to the people who are actually going to do the work. As a director, you know, we've come up with the brief and everything, and we give it to the creative team. Obviously, in this case, it's starting from the brand strategist. I was also part of the brand strategist team, but it was I and Jemima, and we spent a few weeks coming up with the strategic part of the brand. So we kind of want to verbalize the brand, you know, come up with brand concepts, but then in written format, right? And this actually is being achieved from competitor analysis. We also study the target audience or the target customer, and we use information that the founder has given us, which obviously captures the founder's point of view. These 3 ingredients are actually very, very important in coming up with a brand persona. Now, your brand persona is made up of your brand voice, your brand messaging, your customer experience, your company culture strategy, and others. So we did all of these things for Trib Lagos. It took us about 3 weeks, and we did have a session physically to kind of round things up. Now, presenting this strategy was fairly easy. We did a walkthrough of the plans that we had, and once we got approval for the brand strategy, we're now set to actually start working on visuals. And in terms of visuals, we're looking at the logo, the colors, the typography, patterns and illustrations, textures, and other brand elements that would affect the interior, content creation, and every other aspect of the brand that we would not be working on. All these other parts that we're talking about are very, very crucial for application in brand touchpoints. Now, this creative brief that we have from the discovery call is going to be translated into what we call a stylescape. Now, what is a stylescape? A stylescape is pretty much a rectangular image that we kind of call it a mood board most of the time, but a stylescape is just a step further. What you're doing is you're now taking every element of that mood board and actually shaping it to form a theme. So we had to make sure that every stylescape that we had presented had a different theme to it. Now, what the stylescape does really is it translates everything that they've shared with us, everything that we did in terms of strategy, and we kind of convert that into a visual representation. Because we also want to try to avoid a situation where the client is thinking or imagining something else and we are thinking something completely different, and then we have issues of this is not what I expected, this is not what I like, all those type of things. So this stylescape is presented to the customer or the client in this case, and they have to pick which one that they actually would be going with as a theme for their brand. And then any elements in the other ones that they like can also be combined to form a final stylescape that would guide the creative process or creative direction for every other thing that we had to work on. This is the stylescape that the client picked, and we're also happy with that choice actually, because we also wanted them to pick that choice. So it was actually a great choice, and we're able to use that to come up with concepts for Trib Lagos. Okay, now it's time for the logo design, and like this is the part that a lot of business owners always want to do. But if you notice, we actually have not even gotten to logo at all from the beginning till now, and that's to show that the logo is not even the most important part of your visual identity, even if it's a very crucial identifier, but it's not the only important thing that you need for your brand. But the logo is the most tasking part of it, because as much as it's not the only thing that is important, it is a major identifier. So we want to actually take our time to create a logo concept that does not exist somewhere else, and also does communicate the brand in the simplest way possible, because the logo should be simple so that it's easy for people to remember, as it is an identifier in quote. So we usually have 2 logo designers, or I would say 2 brand identity designers, to come up with the brand, starting from the logo process all the way down to the last visual. And in this case, it was I and Jemima as well, because we worked on brand strategy, so it was kind of just easier for us to also come up with the Stylescape and the logo concept as well. And trust me, from when we got to the Stylescape, or even like the ending part of the stride, we already had some ideas in terms of what the logo would look like, and we decided to come up with sketches. We did hit a roadblock in the logo process, which was actually kind of interesting, because the very first logo that I personally sketched was the logo that became the final logo, which is what everybody has seen on the internet at this moment. But we kind of had this feeling that we should actually give some other options, just to kind of say, okay, even if we know that this one is very good, here are other options. And we did present the logo concept in black and white, and the feedback we got was, let's go with this concept. That's the one you guys can see right now. And their feedback was that they loved the explanation of the logo itself. So the logo basically carried the message that they were trying to pass across, and that's one that we went with. Now, after the logo concept is being chosen, we then go ahead to apply color to it. So we gave it a brownish color and added texture to kind of cover or communicate the Afrocentric parts of the brand. And then we also rounded off the edges a little bit, because we also wanted it to feel very welcoming and less professional, because it was a kind of fun environment. And we also created the logo system, so we had the logo in different variations for different use cases, and then also in black, in a dark version and a light version. So the color system was where we had like I won't really say negative comments, but it was a I don't like it kind of comment. So we started color research from the Stylescape, obviously, and put it into a software called Adobe Color. We also did the same for typography. So we did typography research using font sites like Google Fonts, Da Fonts, and amongst some other ones. And then when it came to pattern, our first concept was taking the whole connecting thing, like people sitting around a table and having fun, connecting with each other, gisting. So we represented the table with like lines, and then had like little circles that represented human beings, but then it was kind of viewed from like the top view, and that inspired the first pattern. So we presented this concept to them, and this was where we got the feedback that they didn't really like it. And that's because it was more on the African side as opposed to the luxurious side, because the brand was supposed to give luxury and Afro at the same time, also giving food vibes. So we had to go back to the drawing board to come up with something that was more into the luxury side. Now, for us to achieve that, what we did was we actually looked at the word luxury. What exactly gives luxury in terms of visuals? And one very key thing that actually depicts luxury is simplicity. So when something is more simple in terms of like whatever element you're doing in design, then it gives that vibe of a luxurious feel. So we decided to simplify the color system, also make it more pastel. So when something is soft and pastel, like actually looks like it was written by chalk or something, then it gives kind of luxurious feel. So we had to make use of colors that are on the pastel side and make a lot of the illustrations and the patterns to be more abstract. So our new color system was gotten from the mud clay, skin tone brown, and then we added a peach color to kind of give a balance between both. So we're able to come up with 3 major colors for the brand, and we extended it in terms of different use cases. So for typography, one of the major key things that we looked at was making the font itself luxurious. And this stems from picking more serif kind of fonts as opposed to bulky, round, textured type of fonts, which was more Afrocentric. So we picked Butler as a major brand font, and then to kind of give that soft and welcoming feel, we used Carla as a body font, which kind of paired well with Butler font. But then this doesn't mean that they can't use more Afrocentric font depending on the kind of designs that they're going to be doing. The pattern was the most interesting part because I personally did this one, and it took me a few days to actually come up with what illustrations to use for the pattern. And we decided to pick Arewa, which is a symbol from the northern part of Nigeria, which actually means connectedness, and Adin Krahini, which means interconnectedness as well, and the Niger Benue River, which actually connects every part of Nigeria. And we pieced that together to form the pattern that Trib3 Lagos has right now. This pattern was used in the interior of the space. Actually, it was used on the website and a lot of other parts of the brand, table mats and some other items as well. The last part of the visual identity was illustrations, and for this we got Tersoo on board. Tersoo is an artist. She's a paint artist, and we decided to bring her on board to add that artistic feel to the illustrations of Trib Lagos. Reason being that the interior of the space was going to have a lot of art paintings, and it just made sense and tied together for the brand that Trib Lagos was going to give. Tersoo studied architecture in Covenant University, and because she was a classmate of mine, it was easy for me to bring her on board, and we started conceptualizing for the illustrations itself. We decided to pick key tribes around the world, and then we did some rough sketches on silhouettes of these people, focusing on their headpiece, their neckpiece, and parts of their attire. So the brand identity was now complete at this point, and we're able to present this to the clients, and at this time, they loved everything. Now, in terms of building the website or building a website, the process usually goes this way. So you have what is called a site map or a website flow, which kind of gives you information on how the user is going to actually navigate the site. And then with this, we kind of create wireframes, and wireframes kind of help you to see what the website would look like, but like in very empty black and white fashion. When you see the structure of a design in black and white, it actually does help you in process of like thinking for like creative, the colors and the illustrations and all of that, which is where UI design or visual design of the website comes in, which is where we actually focus on the user experience of the website and the user interface. So what are the texts we're going to use, what are the imagery, what are the graphics, what are all those things, videos here and there. And then once we're able to do that in Figma, we then take that into the development. So in this case, we're using Wix Studio as our web developer. So we want to make the website live on the internet. So this is Trib Lagos website. And the goal for this website was to be able to take reservations. So we have reservations here. Customers are able to take reservations, and this particular page is easily accessed with a book now button on the Instagram page as well. So you're able to pick the amount of guests you're taking in, date and time that you're going to be arriving, and you can also easily access the menu from here. So this page kind of like is a standalone page but connected to the website. We also wanted people to be able to place orders, so you could actually like place order and pick up from the website. So you kind of just select the dish that you want and then add to your cart, and once it's added to your cart, you can go to your cart here to check out. So you just view cart, and then when you get to the place, you can pick up your item. So we just kind of wanted that easy flow for customers. We also the goal was also to be able to have this thing called space bookings, where you kind of are able to book the space for a shoot. So as you can see, these are pictures that we took, by the way. And then you could kind of select to book and go in there to have your photo shoot. So you come with your camera crew and all of that, and you're able to have a shoot. Another thing we wanted was being able to have reviews. So as you can see, Google reviews are being displayed here, and this particular page and button is being accessed from the QR stand in the restaurant. So people come here to write a review, and then it gets displayed on the review page of the website. And then you also have the menu display. This can be easily updated from the mobile app or the dashboard of the website. So we kind of wanted this seamless flow of everything. Here is dashboard, so you can see like table reservations, where you can add a reservation for someone from call, or you just add a walk-in to make sure that seats are not cross double booked. You also have a floor plan view to kind of view how the whole seating arrangement is in the space, and then also add bookings, reservations and walk-ins from here as well. So pretty much this is how like we wanted it to work, and we decided to use Wix Studio as a platform because this was more cost effective, combining all these particular features that we wanted. If we wanted to do this with say WordPress, we had to like do it individual, buy plugins for different things, to be more expensive. And also this is easier to manage, and it's also very easy to update the website. So you can also host events for the events that they want to host. They can kind of manage that here. They manage the rentals for shoots with the booking calendar. They can also send out invoice for like rentals of the space, like very large ones. And then table reservations is here. Then here is where they manage the menu, and then they can also do like discounts and stuff like that. And then you have some marketing features, features for like managing your customers. And then there are also some automated responses for like when someone books, they get a message confirm their booking, they get reminders when they're supposed to come in, all those type of things. So it's pretty easy for management for the client, and then these are tutorial videos that we did in terms of like them managing the website, knowing what to do, when to do it. So we did a staff training for their team, so we're able to kind of have like this client resource kit here, and then you can easily edit the content of the site alone, so without actually breaking the form of the website. So this is the builder that we chose for this. One of the major things that was our concern for us really was actually handing over the site, because when a website is very complicated, they have to keep paying you to be able to manage that website, but not necessarily saying that they can't still pay us to manage the website now, but then it's pretty easy. So like the chances that they would have to compulsorily do that is very, very low. So that was one of our major concerns for the website, and that's also one reason why we chose Wix Studio as a choice, right? So they don't have to hire any extra hands to, you know, manage the website or anything like that.
You know who made it.
So now we've gotten to food packaging, the most stressful part of this project, because here we're working with printing presses, we're working with production houses, making sure that they actually get our designs properly. And the three major things that we had to really pinpoint on was errors. We had to make sure that we don't actually have errors. Functionality, we had to make sure that the designs that we're actually coming up with are functional and can actually be produced. And then appeal, obviously, as opposed to it being functional, it being error-free, we also had to make sure that the users are attracted to it. So those are like the three major things that we really had to look at. In order to achieve all this, we started from the Stylescapes, obviously. Stylescapes is kind of like the root of every single thing that we're going to design for this brand. And we started from there to come up with concepts. So what are the types of packaging that they're going to use? So we had to think of the process in terms of them actually using this packaging. So obviously a customer is going to take out some part of the food that they maybe don't finish, or they actually come there to pick up. The food is going to be put into a container, and that container is going to be put into a bag, and we're going to have to seal that bag with a sticker. So that was kind of like the thought process in terms of what packaging to actually design and create. So we came up with a few concepts, and we did designs for the concepts. We also did mock-ups as well. We did 2D mock-ups, we did 3D mock-ups, and this was what helped us in terms of like communicating to the printing presses and production houses. One of the key things that we really looked at in terms of producing was that anything that was wood, crafts, bamboo were like very key elements when it comes to the Trib3 Lagos brand, because even in the interior of the space, we did encourage a lot of wood-like or craft or raffia type of material. So if you look at the lighting fixtures, they were raffia. If you look at the wall framings, art on the wall, they were raffia material, and they had a lot of like wood signage everywhere. So we also wanted to apply that to the packaging. So this was a very key texture element of the brand. When it comes to texture, we also looked at leather and gold foil as something that also suits the Trib3 Lagos visual identity. So applying all of this into packaging was also very exciting. We had to really consider how these things paired together, and we came up with a craft carrier bag. We came up with stickers, we came up with food container sleeves, we came up with cup coaster, we came up with the QR stand. The QR stand was produced from a production house who already had like a prototype of that on ground, so we just took that sample. It was wooden, it was a cube, and the logo was a square. It fit right into the logo, so we went with that. We also added the QR code for reviews and menus that connected to the website. For the cup coasters, it was bamboo, so the production house told us that bamboo worked very well, and then we could laser cut the logo on it, and we went with that. So those two were concepts that came in conversation with the client and the production houses, while the craft bag and the sleeve and the sticker was designed solely by Seriphics team. When it came to the craft bag and the thank you card, the sticker, oh yeah, I didn't mention thank you card. When it came to all those parts that we designed, we had to create die cuts for them. So obviously it's not the actual craft bag or brown paper bag that will come out of the machine. We actually have to lay out what it's going to look like look like as a flat paper. So that's what a die cut really is. So we kind of specify at what positions this should go in, how it should be folded, and kind of label what kind of handle it should be, and all those other things. So we did that for the brown paper bag, the thank you card, and the sticker as well, and also the food sleeve. So we're able to send that to the production houses, run through some samples, and then produce. So we did take the samples to the clients. They did pick their favorites, because I didn't even mention about the food box. The food box is something that we created. We actually did a 3D model of it. We did a die cut custom from scratch. Like, it was a custom created food box with the handle concept and everything. So the idea for that box was you kind of open up to put the food in it and then close it up, and then have the other two sides fold up as a handle for that box. But basically the client didn't pick that, sadly, but then it's still a concept that they can decide to use later on in future, right? So this is the process when it comes to food packaging production, and yeah, it was an exciting one. It was quite hectic as well, but it was really fun. One major thing that is like very, very important when it comes to food packaging production, or even any production, like as a designer, like you're designing and then you send to a production house, is making sure that you supervise everything to the T. Make sure that they're using the right ink, make sure they're using the right printing materials, the right paper, the right everything, so that it actually comes out like what you actually designed it to be. So that's also one thing that we did do. So we actually went to the factory once or twice to make sure that we supervised and make sure that everything actually came out the way it was supposed to come out. So now the signage. This signage is something that we've actually never done before. Like, legit, it was more of like the client just calling us and it's like, we want the logo to be, we want to do signage, we want the logo to be very huge on the entrance, and like want to do the pylon. But because as at the beginning, what we planned to do was to do a billboard, like an actual billboard that would be, there was a small building in front that would be on top of that building. And that was what we all had in mind. We had done designs also for like direction, so like all these metal like structures that you kind of have like a small sticker on it that, you know, walk through to Trib3 Lagos in here. Those were the plans that we had. And then he just called and said they want a signage that would have lights, and like it was like, okay. I was like, yeah, no problem, we can do it. And I just called one of our production partners, the owner of Printivo. In fact, that guy, he has been like a very, very huge help for this project, legit. And he was like, yes, he actually has another company that does signage and pylons for businesses. And I was like, wow, perfect. So I spoke to them, I got samples from them, I sent them to the clients, and like, so pretty much it was kind of like a designer to vendor relationship. So we did the designs for the signage and the pylon, and we did them in Illustrator in 2D formats, because the company, the vendor that's going to be producing this is not a vendor that has like mad-ass machines like computers and stuff like that. So we had to make the designs as simple as possible, but like communicated what was needed to be done. So we created the designs in 2D, and then we also had meetings with Bisola the Interior Designer again, just to make sure that whatever signage we're doing on top actually fits the design for the entranceway, because the signage was just going to be on top of the entryway, and like there was another concept for the entryway itself. And we came up with concepts, we did some back and forth with the clients and like with Bisola, and the clients were very easygoing. They were like, as long as Bisola agrees with it, we're fine. And I was like, okay, no problem. So yeah, that was how we came up with designs for the entryway signage, and then also the pylon itself. The pylon was refurbished, so we took the old pylon that was there before and refurbished it to a newer one. And yeah, the installation was quite interesting. It was actually pretty straightforward. It didn't take so long. So it was that day that I actually even met a new client that we have right now. So that day was a very, very good day for me. So yes, it was an interesting process. So we actually did shoot for Trib Lagos, and the goal of the shoot was actually for the website. So we didn't want to use stock footage and imagery on the website, because then that would defeat the whole purpose of the brand. So we had to actually wait for the interior designer. What we actually were kind of in the process, like in between, because we actually did help the interior designer in terms of deciding on some materials that, you know, our expertise was needed. But she actually did a very good job on the material. I commend her for that. Like, oh my god, interior design is just so good, and like she's a very friendly person to work with, so it was kind of like a very nice thing. But then like the website needed to have that touch of excellence as well, so we had to wait for her to finish in terms of like getting all the items on the product, everything. And then we finally picked a day for the shoot, and we got our photographer Ogali. She was the one who helped us to rent the equipment, and we had some sessions together in terms of planning for the shoots, the angles and the shots that we needed to take. So on that particular day, even if we spent the whole day there, because we had to like arrange, we had to set up the place, but then it was kind of a breeze in terms of shooting because we already knew what we were going to take pictures and videos of. But ultimately, the video production process is broken down into three. You have the pre-production phase, which I just explained now, where you actually have to plan the video, kind of know what to shoot at a particular time, and then you have the production phase, which is when you actually get the equipment, you actually go on site, actually do the shooting of the everything. And like in this particular stage, we do what is called overshooting, where we take extra, like we take pictures of things that we didn't actually even plan to take just because they look good, right? In case you kind of need more footage for extra stuff in post-production, because you only get one time to actually do the shoots. You can't, like, once you've made mistake, like there's no going back. So we kind of did take our time to come up with everything that was needed for the post-production. So post-production is where we actually settle down on our systems and edit the video, edit the pictures. And for editing, we used Lightroom for editing pictures, and for videos we used Premiere Pro. So now it was time to hand off. But pretty much the handoff process is mainly focusing on training the staff, training the team, making sure that they kind of have all the necessary details that they need for, basically doing their work as staff of Trib Lagos. So normally you would be handing off to a design team where these guys are already trained on how to actually use some certain terminology, some certain tools, some certain resources that we provide. But in this case, we were handing off to people who were not creatives. They were not necessarily the clients, but they were not creatives. So we actually had to take our time to put them through the process. It was a 1 week training. We had 1 physical day and 4 days online. And we did training on the website. We also did training for the social media staff. And then we also handed over some of the emails, the login addresses, kind of help them set up their laptops and things like that. That was what we did on the training day. Another thing that we did hand off was the brand assets. So what we usually do is we export all the brand assets into all the possible formats that anybody would need. So we don't do that thing where you say, oh, you have to pay for your AI files, extra fee, that kind of thing. No. So we kind of just do everything together and upload them to a Google Drive folder where everybody on your team has access to that Drive folder. So you just kind of pick what you need. We also come up with a detailed brand identity guideline that kind of covers everything that we worked on and how it should be used, how to layer colors, how to apply text, how to use illustrations, the patterns, everything. And then we hand that document over to the client. So yeah, Trib Lagos, they were doing a launch, and like it was actually quite exciting that they were actually doing a launch for this particular project. Most of the clients that we've had, they didn't really do a specific launch per se. It was just like they just changed their logo and like yay, we have a new logo, and that was it. Like they never really kind of like it didn't embody any other thing that we really did. But in this case, it was going to be different, which was very, very exciting. Just wanted to come on here to kind of just give appreciation or kind of just share my gratitude and how I feel right now about this successful project. This is one of the largest projects that we've had, so far. We've been on this from brand strategy all the way on to seeing that the brand launch was successful. Also, all the other people who worked on the project who did like different parts, like interior designer, the managers, the operations, like everything was just very nice, and they were very friendly, very welcoming. They were very easy people to work with, and I really do hope that the restaurant does very great and becomes successful in the near future. So yes, I would say if you're someone who wants this kind of work for your business, definitely check the link in the description and reach out to us. Thank you. Bye.
No way.
Thank you.